When shopping here at Helmuth Ford, we will do our best to put you in the vehicle that you want, that you love, and that is safe for your family.
Your safety is our focus. That's why we are a full-service repair facility.
We'd love to sell you a vehicle of your choosing. If we don't have it, we'll do our best to find it for you. If you're looking for a vehicle with low miles, a great price, and a friendly atmosphere, come visit us here at Helmuth Ford.
We look forward to seeing you soon.
See our full inventory at helmuthford.com.
Central Empire Wrestling presents Bridge City Slam 6 live Saturday, September 7th at the Bridgeview Center in Ottumwa. Come see Jake the Snake Roberts, Buff Bagwell, former WWE Tag Team Champions Demolition, Real One Enzo Amore, The Powers of Pain, The Boogeyman, Snitsky, Jordan Grace, Cameron Brennan, and the stars of CEW. Tickets start at just $20 and include the Fan Fest from 4 to 7 p.m. Get your tickets through Ticketmaster or at the Bridgeview Center in Ottumwa. It's Bridge City Slam 6, live Saturday, September 7th at the Bridgeview Center in Ottumwa. Sigourney Keota football fans, Steve Shuttler Media is teaming up with Clint Dye of Tag Team Photography to bring you coverage of Sigourney Keota football this fall. You've seen Clint's fantastic photos of Sigourney Keota football over the last few years. And now Clint is bringing those talents to be showcased on Steve Shuttler Media. We're going to have pictures and action shots of each and every game, an in-depth article, and a video highlight of the game as well. You won't miss a thing with Sigourney Keota football coverage right here this year on Steve Shuttler Media. Welcome in. It is a Tuesday evening here on Steve Shuttler Media, and yes, it is time for TNT Tuesday Night Tune-Up. We are live from Smoky Row. We are being presented by Helmuth Ford in Sigourney, along with all of our other fine sponsors here on the Tuesday Night Tune-Up. And speaking of which, look who's back. We've got Curtis Vanderwall hanging out with Safe Grafke. What's up, guys?
Well, you know, we didn't know you were alive, dead, whatever. We're glad to see you're alive, Curtis.
Yeah, alive. Just had a busy stretch of work, and then last week had a pre-scheduled deal that I couldn't change. So
that's fine.
That took precedence.
You
so
missed a great interview last week with Mark Skirring and Tiny, Dave Sellers, and his daughter Krista.
Super good group of
it's
people.
Okay.
I'm sad
I'm
I
gonna
missed
forgive
it.
you for that one.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'll forgive you. I don't know if the rest of the fans watching will, but I will. So.
That's their choice. Either way, I just appreciate you doing that. So.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we have a lot to dive in here tonight. We have a couple $100,000 shows to talk about. We need to talk about who the hell Kurt Lund is. We need to talk about the Boone Super Nationals and a few other things coming up next on TNT, the Tuesday Night Tune-Up.
All righty, let's take a look at some of our sponsors here on the Tuesday Night Tune-Up. We do thank Chris Minter at Milo's Tree Service. We also send a big shout-out to Sinclair Napa. We also thank James Family Greenhouse in Sigourney. Christy Tarr at American Family Insurance. We've got Sigourney Body Shop, we've got Sigourney Motors, and we've got Son-in-Law Services located in Sigourney, as is our headline sponsor, Helmuth Ford, located in Sigourney. So a bunch of people on board for the Tuesday Night Tune-Up. Guys, let's take it back to Safe and Curtis, and we'll let them lead the conversation. Guys.
All right, here we go. Welcome back, race fans, to TNT, the Tuesday Night Tune-Up. As expected, this is the busiest week in Iowa for all of dirt track racing. Actually, it's been the busiest 2 weeks. Last week, Farley, Iowa hosted $100,000 to win stock car race and $50,000 to win super late models.
$300,000 to win races that occurred last week, right?
Yes, one of three. Yeah, there were
so stock cars and then two sprint cars one in the middle of the country and one clear on the West Coast.
And then one, yeah, absolutely, just absolutely a crazy time right now in motorsports and in IMCA world. Yeah, we had XR world. We had the 100,000 win at Farley for the Yankee Showdown, for the Yankee Classic. And then this week we have the Boone Super Nationals. The prelude just happened, and now it's a busy week at Boone. So unfortunately, all of the drivers are up there right now and getting ready for a busy race week, literally a whole week worth of racing.
Started maybe last Friday. A lot of guys showed up at Marshalltown, and then Saturday, Sunday was the prelude, and then straight into the Super Nationals, first of 2 qualifying nights for the hobby stocks and sport mods, and then also the late model feature was last night.
Correct.
Is that
Yes,
right?
it was. Yes. So a lot of great racing this week. If you want to catch any of that action, you can go on to imcatv.com to keep up with everything happening at the Boone Super Nationals. So again, it'll be a great week of racing up there. It's really hard to pick a winner until after qualifying is all said and done, and it's a big deal to have a very good draw there for your heat race as well.
You know, that's an interesting thing about that race. You know, I'm always first of all, we don't go to that because it's a huge time and money commitment, and then you're exactly right. The draw, in my mind, matters more than your car speed.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we saw extremely good cars in both classes not even make it to the feature last night because the racetrack was less than desirable and their starting position was less than desirable, and for me that's tough to see because as a racer you want to make your car as good as possible, not rely on some computer to draw you a number.
And they say it's supposed to make it more competitive. It's not. So people that aren't interested with how Boone does the Super Nationals is you draw, and that drawing puts you into your not only your heat race, but where you line up in that heat race. And the thing is, is it 8 or 10?
I think it's 10.
Okay, yes. Every 10 heat races, because there's so many heat races, because there's so many cars, they stop and they rework the track every 10 heat races. So if you draw really good and you're in one of the first 2 heat races.
Well, if you draw really good and you're in the first row or 2 of your heat race, you don't really have much to worry about, right? Because then you've got to hope that you're in one of those 2 or 3 heat races in the middle where the racetrack isn't slimy or one lane fast. It starts to widen out, and then it gets towards the end, and then it's a dust bowl.
Yeah,
it's the most interesting thing. I've never seen a racetrack change so fast. But then again, they're running in the afternoon, you know, and that's not.
They start early.
Yeah, I've never seen a good afternoon show.
Neither have I. Never ever in my whole entire life.
And it's. I get there's time constraints, but at some point it feels like the quality of the show suffers.
Kind of got to call it.
Yeah, you know, you gotta do that, and it seems like it's not ideal for people. So I hope the guys that kind of got caught out with bad draws and bad track conditions yesterday, maybe today they went better for them.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If you don't qualify good your first night, you
got one more shot.
You do it all over again if you want to.
Yep. At least in the sport mods and hobby stocks.
Right.
Now, starting tomorrow, stock cars and modifieds will go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right?
Yes,
is that
correct?
Okay.
Yeah. It's a crazy format. No one really knows how it works, what really goes on. You kind of have to be a mathematician for that one and for Kings Royal. If you have a math, or if you are good at math, those 2 events are ones you're going to want to watch, and you can figure it out, and then you can try to explain it to us.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
You'll have a way better shot than we will at figuring it out. So,
exactly. So.
But that kind of leads into back to that XR race last week. So
let's go straight back to Farley.
Yeah.
We'll rewind here.
Yep, let's
to
rewind.
Last week. Absolutely crazy. $100,047 at the Yankee Showdown,
nice
the Yankee
round
Dirt
number.
Classic. Yeah, nice round number. So one of the biggest, I think it is the biggest paying stock car race ever to take place in history.
I think you're right.
And if I'm wrong, please correct me, and I would like to
Let
see
us
that.
know.
I don't know of anything that had ever paid that much to win a stock car race. So huge payout. They had, I can't remember the exact number of cars.
They limited entries at 300, and then somewhere
Yes.
around 200 cars showed up. Is what I was told. Is that what you heard as well?
Yeah, it was somewhere in that ballpark. So first off, we want to congratulate a couple of our local drivers.
Oh,
who
absolutely.
did wonderful. Caden Carter, the gas man, drives the 1X car for Michael Peterson. He had an absolute great showing
Yes.
all week,
yes.
literally.
Started towards the back, got a ways up, got mixed up with somebody, had to go to the back, and then came all the way to third. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
Pretty impressive.
So, got third, and then McGuire DeYoung,
Yep.
Gooey Duck, or whatever.
Nicknames
Magoo,
are your
He has
deal,
a lot
brother.
of them. I call him the Monty Missile. So anyway, so McGuire also had a great qualifying
Yes.
night. Got third
Yep.
qualifying.
And it sounded like on Friday night he, in the first half of the race, kind of raced his way up there, and then
He did.
then maybe some contact from another car
Yep.
potentially slowed his roll a little bit, and
It did.
he maybe fell back to that 8th or 9th spot at the
Right.
finish time.
Correct.
So still a really good result. I mean,
Yeah.
9th out of 200 is still amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, I know that they were hoping for better than that,
Right.
and were maybe a little disappointed. But at the same time, looking at it from the outside, that's still an awesome achievement. So
was.
kudos to both of those guys and their teams. That's a pretty awesome deal.
Now to talk about who in the hell is Kurt Lund. The question of the whole entire race.
So
The man
back to
that
your
could-
math deal.
yes. The man that could eat alphabet soup better than anyone in the history of eating alphabet soup.
Where did he start Thursday night? He started in was it the F main?
He started in the F main,
Won that.
won,
Went to the E. Won
Won.
that. Went to the D. Did he win or get second?
second,
So then he's into the C main now. And I don't remember how he did from there.
won,
He won the C.
won the C,
Now he's into the B.
second.
Second in the B. So now he's in that night's qualifying A feature. And he drives up to what in that qualifying feature?
I think fifth,
In that
fourth
range.
or fifth. He was in the top six.
But because of the way they do that format, he got credit for all those cars he passed in
Yeah, so
all
it's
six
based
of
off
those
of
races.
passing points.
So he started on the pole, even though he had a bad start to his qualifying night. It ended up really good with a
ended
fifth
up the
place
best
finish.
qualifying night that anyone could humanly
Yeah,
have.
and you add on all the cars that he passed. That's your pole sitter for the $100,000 to win stock car race right
And
there.
then fortunately, he had some bad luck in that A. He did not win, but the Minnesota native, what a comeback. I mean, all of a sudden, my Facebook just goes crazy of Kurt Lund. Where's his merchandise? How can
Yeah,
we get a
I
hold
think
of him?
he
How can we do
sold
this?
out of shirts
And then the
and-
next thing I know, just my whole page is Kurt Lund. And then the question comes up is, who in the hell is Kurt Lund?
A very good stock car
This
racer
guy-
from Minnesota.
Made it look so easy. And you wanted to, and he's not a spring chicken by any means. I mean, his grandkids were there. I mean, he's not a younger gentleman. So
Even better.
This guy just takes this thing and wheels it. And he's won quite a few races in Minnesota for me doing my digging into
Little
him a
bit
little
of
bit.
internet sleuthing.
Yes, correct. So very well decorated driver from up north, and he really put on a clinic and showed everyone that how to get around Farley.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't pan out for him for that 100,000.
Well-
But if he would have, I can only imagine, based off of the amount of cheering and emotion and everything that happened from the alphabet soup ordeal, how it would have been if he would have won the $100,000.
Yeah, it would have been amazing.
It would have
Absolutely
been
amazing.
definitely something to remember.
And I think if nothing else, he can certainly hang his hat on that deal. Was a crowd favorite.
Yep.
Everybody in the whole place was pulling for him. It sounded like, and he put on an unbelievable show.
He did. I am a huge fan now. So, I mean, just incredible. And the great racing all weekend. I don't think anyone was necessarily super surprised that Ricky Thornton Jr. did Ricky Thornton Jr. things. And ended
Even
up
from
winning.
what, 25th or 26th
Yeah,
or something like that?
Yep, won. I mean, he's a great overall wheel man. I mean, he is,
Nothing he can't drive.
right.
And do
exactly.
it very well.
So it'll be exciting to see. I don't know if he's able to do Super Nationals or not.
Ooh, good, yeah, good call.
With-
I haven't
need
heard
to look.
anything, but I don't know either.
I know. It's just such a busy week. And then, it's hard because he's also a full-time late model driver. And so to get away from, having to decide between the two, obviously late model racing is going to probably trump the Boone Nationals, which I can see
That's his
why.
bread and butter, sure.
It is, and the payout is probably a little bit better too. Not try to say Boone isn't good payout or anything, but
I think you can. I think you can say that.
yeah, okay. Boone does not have great payouts. It's all based on contingencies.
Yeah,
You get a motor, you get this,
I
you
think
get
that there's
that.
some decent pay, but I think you're right. You know, a lot of it comes in the extra products and stuff that you get that are donated by racing companies. So
Yeah, and it all says IMCA on it too. Just FYI.
it's their deal,
stuff.
right?
So anyway, but
oh,
no. But let's get into now the other $200,000
Yes.
swing. Let's just keep it in the Midwest right now and go to Brandon, South Dakota.
Before we do
Oh.
that, do you ever think that we would be talking about $300,000 to win races on the same weekend in America of 3 different sanctioning bodies? It's pretty wild if you really stop and think about it.
Yes, but I wouldn't have expected one of those to be a stock car race.
Right. Maybe a late model race.
I would have seen it being, like the World 100 and something else and something
Yep.
else. Absolutely. But
pretty dang
throw in
amazing.
the mixer of one of them is a stock car race in Iowa. No,
Yeah.
I didn't think we would be talking about that.
No one had that on their bingo card, but it's really cool for us to get to recap it. So
It is.
So up in Dakota.
Yep.
What
3-night show.
We had a 3-night show with the World of
Three-night show,
Outlaws.
yes, and I'm gonna cheat.
He's cheating.
I'm
by
cheating.
using a electronic.
I'm sorry.
No
okay?
need to be sorry, buddy.
Sorry.
Nope.
So okay, night number 1 was a qualifying night. It was the Fulkin Brothers trucking night.
Thursday night.
Thursday night, and actually, a lot of people were pretty shocked. I wasn't, because this seems like his kind of track, and he's done decent there in the past. Sheldon Hodenshield, the Wild Child.
Pretty good bounce back for those guys. They've kind of had an up and down year.
It kind of seems like that's the role for that team, though. I mean, just being honest, Sheldon's a great driver, but it's never. The consistency has never really been there.
Yeah, they have those valleys that I think if they could correct those valleys, they would become an immediate threat
Yes,
for the championship.
Absolutely.
But they tend to keep having those.
They
so.
do. And no actual surprise, because this team has been on fire both with their World of Outlaw car and with their high limit car, is the number 83 car of my buddy Michael Kofoid. The young man comes home second on the first qualifying night with them.
Yep, ran a really good race, and we may hear from him a little bit later.
Now, third, fourth, and fifth were pretty big upsets.
Yeah, maybe surprises.
Yeah, I would.
So we've got the National Rookie of the Year, right? Knoxville
Yes.
National Rookie of the Year.
Emerson
then,
Axum.
Then he won the last night at Knoxville.
Correct.
And then he goes up here and runs third on the qualifying night.
Yes.
Pretty impressive 2-week stretch.
Absolutely. And the next guy, I shouldn't say it's too shocking. He's been very consistent. Good car, good team. They're starting to find their rhythm. They're out of Knoxville. That's the 23 of Garrett Williamson. Another
Really good run
great
for that
young
group.
driver.
Yep.
He's won at Knoxville. I will say fifth place did surprise me by quite a bit.
So he really kind of came on the scene last year.
He did.
And made a big splash in midgets and sprint cars, and then kind of tapered off the second half of the year, and then hasn't really turned a lot of heads. But he ran good Thursday.
Number
night.
5, Ryan Timms.
Yep.
And then sixth place, Giovanni Selzy. Seventh, Carson Macedo. You'll hear that name a lot. Eighth, Scott Boguski. Ninth, Bill Baylog. And in 10th was the biggest shocker of being that far back, was David Gravel.
That just as much as some of those guys in the top 5 were surprised on how well they ran. Gravel running 10th was a surprise, but he came from 20th.
He did
to do that. So,
but still, to have that kind of night, and his
kind of
owner of the team, Todd Queering, he also owns that track.
Owns the track. It's kind of a deal where his Nationals luck and how they did there kind of followed him up there.
Correct.
At least for the qualifying night. So.
Correct. So night number 2, Carson Macedo won. Not necessarily a huge surprise.
No.
But he stole it from the 14H, who was Chase Randall. That young man has so much potential. I think the best move was for him to get away from that 2KS car.
Yeah, you know that
I don't try to
car's-
talk down on a team,
Yeah,
but
they seem to have had a lot of drivers and
a lot of
and-
turnaround.
Yeah, and I don't know all the details there, but I think you're right. You know, Chase started on the pole and led most of the race,
Mm-hmm.
and then Carson snuck up there. He started what, 8th? Is that
8th,
right?
yes.
So that was a good run for him. You know, you don't always see that much passing,
Right.
you know, especially for the win at the front of the field. Who ran third behind Chase?
Third was Donnie Schatz. He
no
started
surprise
fourth.
there. Yep.
And then you had Michael Kofoid, who started 17th.
Yep. So he
Got
climbed,
up, so he
the
climbed
ladder a
really
lot.
high,
Yep.
and then right behind him, climbing, right with him, starting right on the inside of him, was Bill Baylog. That was the best performance out of the 17B team with their first year traveling with the World of Outlaws.
Yeah, that was a good couple days for them right there. So.
And then Giovanni Selzy, Logan Schuhart, David Gravel, Garrett Williamson, and Kerry Madsen.
So just about the same guys in the top 10.
Just
with the-
about.
with the order shuffled a little bit. Few changes here
Right.
and there, but
and then Sheldon was all the way back into 17th, and he
yeah,
started 7th.
Yeah,
so
so he must have got mixed up.
Not
in
a great-
something,
not a great night for them.
Or
No,
missed the
just
setup or something.
missed the setup. So,
Yep.
and then the
Now the big money
the
for
big money,
Saturday night.
100,000 to win. The High Bank Nationals was the 83 of Buddy Michael Kofoid. And it's going to be interesting about what we talk about here in a few minutes with the West Coast side of that team. So Buddy won. Carson Macedo got second. He tried a really late slider, just couldn't get it done.
Yep.
But he was
made
able,
a good effort.
He did,
and
he did.
And those guys battled basically all race long because that
Yes.
was your front row, and they battled hard.
It was a great race.
Yep.
And then the highest finish for this team all year, the 17B of the North Pole Nightmare, Bill Baylog.
That
came home
is
in
3
third.
good runs for them in a row.
Yes,
So
3
that's
top
really
10s.
cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so great for that team. That's good momentum, especially since we're in like the second half of their season.
Hopefully
so.
they can build on it a little bit.
Absolutely. And then you had Giovanni Selzy, Donnie Schatz, Sheldon Hodenshield was in 6th, Chase Randall, David Gravel, Logan Schuhart, and Emerson Axon. So again, kind of
the same
pretty
guys
consistent.
there.
You just saw Garrett Williamson. He was all the way. He started 19th that night, and he
Yep.
got 17th. So that was about the only difference.
Yep, no doubt. So kind of interesting that Gravel still ran in the back half of the top 10. I think if you would have said that going into that weekend that he was going to run, you know, between 8th and 10th every night,
No one
that-
would have believed it.
Yeah, nobody would have taken that bet.
No way.
You know, it can happen easy. They get off a
Happens
little
all the
bit,
time.
and it doesn't take much at that level. You know,
No.
you be just a few percent off, and you're left
It's
field
crazy.
sometimes. So.
So now we go to points.
Yep.
After all it's said and done, the points are what matter. We're getting closer to November.
Getting down there
We're getting
to
closer to the
yeah.
November for the World Finals at Charlotte.
Charlotte, yep.
I had a really big blank there. That's not good.
That's why I'm here.
Charlotte, thank you. So David Gravel, after it's all said and done, is still leading the points,
Yep. Over Donnie Schatz.
who has creeped up in points quite a
Yep.
bit. Then you have Carson Macedo, Giovanni Selzy, Buddy Kofoid, and Sheldon Hodenshield are your top 6. So, and then Logan Schuhart's after that. So
Yep. Pretty much kind of down to Gravels to kind of lose at this point in time. It seems like, but at the same time, weird things can happen. You know, if
it happens all the time. It gets
that's
weird.
why we run the races and we don't just talk about
Exactly.
them. So.
Yeah, so really good racing on the World Outlaw side. Now let's kick it over to the high limit side. Now we're going to go all the way to Skagit Speedway.
Yeah, so that's in Washington.
Correct.
And that so that was a pretty large distance between the two races. So
yeah, a little bit of travel room between the two. If
yeah.
you didn't get it South Dakota, you definitely weren't going to make
you
it
weren't going to
Skagit.
pull. Yeah, you weren't going to pull out there. So they again also had 3 nights. Of,
3 nights of
running.
racing,
So,
correct, yes. And old Shuey is, I think, what his official nickname is now. James McFadden had a couple great nights up there.
And that is the team car to Buddy Kofoid.
Yes.
Beef
So
Packers cars.
Both cars did fantastic in their separate 100,000 to win shows,
Yeah.
which is absolutely nuts. I mean,
That's a testament to that team. You know. So if we go back a year and some. there was the tire thing, and
then the motor.
They
had the motor issues
and the
with the
motor
Toyotas.
issues coming on that side of it with Buddy and
Carey, both.
Now they're firing on all cylinders with both cars and running in the top 2 or 3 in last weekend's races. So,
and of course, the California native able to pick up $100,000. Rico Abreu.
Very
wins.
popular win out there.
Very popular.
From what I could tell.
A lot of big energy when he won.
Yep.
A lot of family there. His wife there. His parents. Everyone involved with that team was basically out there. So,
pretty cool for them. His biggest career payday to date, I think he said, and really good to see him get the win. And
it was
really, that's really. That racetrack's second big race for the year, and that's it's exciting to see. They're bringing some excitement back to that area and making it a big deal, and it definitely was a big deal. How did the points shake out after that race?
So after it's all said and done again, Brad Sweet was on the podium too, all 3 nights.
Yeah, he had an interesting first night, didn't he? Kind of get mixed up with the guy spun out in front of him.
Yeah, he had a
and
really rough first night.
Kind of
went pretty good from there.
Yeah, then they got it turned around, which they really needed to, right? They haven't won since May or June, something like that.
Like the beginning of June.
Yeah, so
been a while.
So yeah,
and then had a bad showing at Nationals.
Yeah,
which is interesting for that team.
Really good for them to get back on there. And,
it was,
and even maybe built their point lead just a little bit over.
They did,
7.
Yeah, they did. So they're right now. Brad's leading by a little, like 208 points over Tyler Courtney. Rico has snuck up into 3rd in points, and then you have the Myerstown Missile, Brent Marks.
Yep.
You have Corey Day in 5th, which I am
he
shocked
looked like
by.
he could have been. Looked like he could have been in the mix there Saturday night on that show when I watched the highlights, but he got in the wall a few times and maybe tore the Jacobs ladder out of it.
Yeah, that's a hard track, and if you miss it just a little bit, you're going for a ride.
It doesn't take much of a mistake.
It doesn't. And old Shoey's at
recover.
6th in points.
Nice.
James McFadden,
Nice.
he is dug himself out of a hole, but it's funny. He's tied point-wise with Justin Peck. They're both at 2,003 points. Rewind to 2003. Wow. Let's see, born in 96, so I would have been 7 in 2003. How's that everyone else make you feel for age?
Sorry, folks, he's on a tangent.
Anyway, okay. So tied in points, but James
would have the tiebreaker
because of wins, so he's technically in 6th, Justin Peck 7th. PPM is in 8th.
Yep.
So he's having
the law firm.
He's having a good second half of the season. He came on really strong in June.
Yep.
So that team's starting to click. Spencer Basin went all the way from 4th in points to 9th.
Yeah.
That team is having a rough patch.
They're on the struggle bus right now.
They don't have that speed. And then in 10th, you have Corey Eliason, who is now racing for RSR.
Yep.
Ridge Suns. So they have 2 teams. Technically, they have Corey,
Aaron Reitzel,
and Aaron Reitzel. Yep. Aaron stays local to the Midwest. Corey's the traveling guy. So,
yeah, interesting. Both run real good wherever they show up. So
both are 2 fantastic sprint car drivers. Corey was the longtime driver of the Rudine car.
Yep.
And they just parted ways. I don't think Corey was in his best spot there as far as mentally wise, and that happens a lot. I mean, people are always like, "Oh my gosh, this driver left this team." Oh my gosh.
It's easy to get beat down.
It happens a lot. I mean, let's just look at Ricky Thornton Jr. The fine example of that one.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of things that go into it, and that team chemistry is a big part of it. And if you don't have that, then the rest of it sometimes doesn't make sense. So,
and I would say this: the best thing that ever happened to Ricky Thornton Jr. was leaving SSI Motorsports.
Ooh, I don't know that I can go that far.
I think so. He's got a powerhouse of another driver on that team to help him out.
Yeah, I don't know that
Jonathan
he needs
Davenport. I don't think he does, but I think it's nice. And then to back that up, you have one of the greatest late model drivers now is the crew chief.
Yeah, so you're talking about Chris Madden as his crew chief.
Yes.
But I think he's racing this week at Eldora.
Yeah.
In another one of their cars. And I think you said Jonathan Davenport is his teammate.
Not Jonathan
I think
Davenport.
you meant
I
Jimmy
meant
Owens. Yeah.
Yes.
So
I mean, I think Yes, they had a lot of speed at SSI. Things were going very well at SSI, but I think come next year and even right now in this half of the year, that team's going to be better.
Oh, I don't think there's any reason to think any different than that. I just wonder. I'm a big Anthony Burrows fan. As former crew chief at SSI, and I think that the two of them worked really good. But again, it's Todd Burns' team, and he can do what he wants to do there, and he wanted to make a driver change, and that's surprising, but it's also what happened. So.
And Hudson does just fine in that car.
Oh, he's also a.
I'm not going to bad talk a driver.
No, and they came out of the box after that change. Hudson won a couple races, and now they've kind of slipped a little bit. But who knows? Maybe they're just doing some experimenting and trying some stuff.
You know who isn't slipping on winning races right now? Bobby Pierce.
He is pretty darn fast.
Unbelievable.
I think
winning a lot of the Outlaw features.
Yeah,
right now.
I think
that car is bad.
What is it, like 8 out of the last 15 or something like that? I mean, it's some crazy number that.
He's won over half of the last races.
Yeah, so pretty good deal.
Absolutely nuts. I mean, just a crazy time in the motorsports world. Again, this is a really big week around here. Boone Super National is going on. Make sure you either go up to Boone and watch, or I'm more of a fan right now of just watch on the TV, but I'd rather go and support a local track too. So I would recommend going if you can. If you really have to watch on the TV, do that. But if you can go, I would go.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
I think
and get a steak sandwich.
I've heard that same thing. I've never had one, but
really, someone bring Curtis back a steak sandwich, please.
It's okay if you don't.
Nah, bring him one. I'm telling you, just bring him one. I'll Venmo you. I'll Venmo someone to bring Curtis a steak sandwich back.
You bet. Should we squeeze another break in and then kind of finish talking about what's coming up the rest of this weekend?
Yeah, let's do it. We're going to take a quick commercial break to talk about all of our wonderful sponsors. Steve, take it away.
All righty, guys. Thank you, Safe and Curtis. And we do thank Helmuth Ford in Sigourney for being our headliner here on the Tuesday night tune-up. We do thank, as well, Milo's Tree Service. Let's see here. We've also got Sinclair Napa. Go to sinclairnapa.com. We've got James Family Greenhouse and Produce right along East Jackson in Sigourney. From here in Oskaloosa, we've got Christy Tarr at American Family Insurance. Sigourney Body Shop, they are big race fans at 210 Clark Street in Sigourney. Sigourney Motors for sales and service, and son-in-law services as well. Josh Clubb, the handyman. Again, Helmuth Ford is our headliner here on the Tuesday night tune-up. And guys, let's take it back to Safe and Curtis for one final segment. Guys.
Okay, well, really quick, I forgot to bring up one thing.
Yes.
One of the Aussies, who is finally in America, has landed. He is out right now in California running the other Paul Silva car.
Yep.
The 57W. That's Jock Goodyear running that car. He picked up his first 360 win in the U.S., so it's really cool to see that for that team.
Yeah,
and coming straight over from Australia, he ran 5th the first night and then won the next night at the NorCal Showdown out in California.
Yeah,
so
pretty impressive. He's a huge talent from Australia.
Oh, man.
Young man that's got a bright future, and let's face it, arguably driving for one of the the top handful of teams in sprint cars. So.
One of the best. And speaking of handful of great teams and all that, we have some really big races going on. And the rest of everything, the High Limit Series are going to be out in Pennsylvania for the Tuscarora 50. Absolutely huge race, and they have taken that and made it a much bigger show than it ever has been.
Yeah,
before.
So in the area, it's always been a huge show, right?
Yes.
They're fair, and they have all the trappings that come with the local fair stuff, and it's a huge community involvement thing, and always has been, and is really the wrap up to the season out at Port Royal. But you're right; they've just ratcheted up a notch this year.
So I believe it's over 100,000 to win.
Is it really? I didn't
I'm
know.
I'm 90% sure that it's over 100,000 win.
I
which is nuts that we have this many 100,000.
I know, it's crazy. I'm a big fan of Port Royal because it's a big racetrack. I like big racetracks, and it races really good. You know, some
Beautiful
people
watching those cars right on the outside of that big white wall around the
Yeah,
whole
it's
place.
pretty-
I mean, it
pretty amazing.
That's a track on my bucket list I need to get to. Maybe you and I can go sometime.
There you go,
We'll
man.
see.
We'll fire up the
yeah.
old scooter and we could Dumb and Dumber it out there. Wait a minute.
I love it.
You be dumb, I'll be dumber. Or
Okay,
wait, you be
perfect.
dumb, I am dumber. How's
Maybe
that?
Steve can tow us.
Steve can run the camera.
There we go.
I
like it. We're going to do a live
we've
stream
got-
all the way out there.
We probably should not do
Well,
that. so.
I think it's a great idea. Someone want to give us a Vespa to take?
Oh, wow.
boy.
So
anyway,
we got that.
so we have that.
Now, if we come back to the west just a little bit in the state
Just
of
a tiny
Ohio,
bit. Yeah.
there might be some type of dirt late model race happening this week that some people may have heard of. That
think-
may be the biggest race of the year, potentially.
Dirt Million.
Do you? Oh, so close. Try number 2.
The Late Model Nationals. No, that's at Knoxville. I'm
okay.
getting closer.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's down to his last guess. Let's see here. I've got faith in him. Safe Grafke says. This, you see the smoke rolling. This is a
The
little.
World Finals.
Okay, so he's 0 for 3. But
I am?
so,
It's World something, right?
the world part is right. Take finals off and add 100.
The World 100.
Now you're talking.
Okay.
Yeah. So arguably the
Yes,
most.
I knew what that was, by the way, folks.
Sure you did.
I had no clue.
Arguably the biggest dirt late model race of the year.
Yes.
Now I think you can make a case for another half a dozen of them because there are, but certainly
I would
one
say,
of the crown jewels.
Yes, I would say it's the one that gets pumped up the most, has a lot of clout. If you win in the dirt world, in the dirt late model world, arguably to say the one that
Like if you had to pick one, if you're a dirt late model guy and you got to win any race you wanted and you picked it, there would probably be 80% or more guys would pick the world.
yeah, I would say so.
It's just
And
that
it's
big
had a lot
deal.
of controversy over the years, like
yeah.
like a recent driver we lost, Scott Bloomquist. He had a deal where he was light at the scales there.
20 or 25 pounds, and then
Yeah.
that boiled over into a lawsuit, and the Ohio State of Weights and Measures got all involved in that.
And then the Droop Rule stuff.
yeah.
And anyway, it could go on for a long time, but
Yeah.
we don't have a lot of time, so
No,
we'll wrap it up.
no.
Anyway, so yes, World 100. If you want to watch that, you can watch it on Dirt Vision this weekend.
Is it Dirt Vision or Flow? I don't remember which one it is, but
Pretty sure it's Dirt
yeah, and
Vision.
maybe it's
I
both.
could be
I
wrong.
don't know, but either way,
Anyway, it's on one of them. It does.
it's going to be
It's
an
on a
amazing
streaming
show.
service.
Yep,
so
it's
going to
be an amazing race.
great race.
Always is.
Fantastic race.
Always is. And then, of course, the Super Nationals go through.
Sunday.
Saturday is championship Saturday with.
And if they have to do Sunday, they do. It
Yeah,
seems
right.
like it ends up always. It always rains Saturday. It seems so they push it to Sunday
Seems like
afternoon. It's
Looking
just
at the forecast, Thursday may be
Thursday might be
word.
questionable.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that works out. But
You know what's not fun? Going to Boone, it rains, and it's a weekend. So then they do all of the heat racing through all of the night. Then they take a 2-hour break, and then they come back and they do all the mains.
Oh wow!
Been
Yeah.
there, done that.
Yeah, better you than me. I wouldn't have
It
survived.
was so
too well on
crazy.
that,
And I
so.
remember it was at like 4:45 in the morning, and Dallin Murdy had to go out for his heat race, and you couldn't see anything. The fog was so heavy.
Oh, because of the fog.
The fog,
Okay.
yeah, it was the fog heat, and it was so bad. Dallin's like, I pulled off. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah. Wow.
Bad.
Yeah.
It happens though there a lot. It seems.
You know,
every year it's like they pick the worst weekend to do this.
Yeah.
Or worst week.
It seems like there's no shortage at those big races of
No.
weird things like that happening.
Always,
so.
it always happens. All these big races. Well, except for nationals, it's not
Yep.
a lot.
Yeah. You know, I can remember as a kid though watching Sammy Swindell win on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
know, maybe
happened.
83 or 84. So
I remember one time we went to Eldon, watched a race, got done, came back, and we were able to catch the B and the A of the late model nationals.
oh wow.
We want to talk about late night.
Yeah,
That
and
was.
that's coming up here in a few weeks, right?
That's
over in
coming up here
Knoxville?
pretty soon, and the Redneck Rally in Oski's coming
Yep,
up. So
yep. And
we have a
then,
lot of stuff coming up.
Got Eldon is racing the next
The
2
Peterson
Saturdays.
Memorial is
Yep.
coming right up for them. Yep, they have two.
So that's going on in the
And
area.
Bloomfield.
Bloomfield's in a couple weeks,
Couple weeks. The Hidden Gems Special or whatever they call
like the
it.
20th and 21st, I think.
I
So
think, or 21st and 22nd.
maybe okay.
Friday, Saturday.
Yep. So that
Or no, yeah, 20 and
that'll
21st.
that'll be a really cool really cool event down there as well at
It
a
will.
track that 2 years ago we were kind of scared may
Yeah.
not host very much racing anymore. So hopefully that's back on the way up.
Yes.
And then a few weeks after that, obviously the next week Memphis, Missouri,
Mm-hmm.
and then Lee County and Donaldson. Then Oskaloosa, and then I know there's another one
Columbus
at Marshalltown, Columbus Junction, maybe. I don't
They do
remember.
the Turkey Dash, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
they
first
have
week
in
of
the
November.
past, but
They're
I
gonna
don't-
try. I think.
Anyway.
I don't know. Anyway, one final,
Lots of racing still
a
coming
lot
up
of
in the
racing.
area.
We'll keep you informed.
Lots of racing still happening in the U.S.
Yes.
The NASCAR deal is through the playoff or into the playoffs
Yeah,
now.
congrats, Tyler Reddick. We're not going to go into NASCAR tonight.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
won't
feel
get
like
into
we don't have
that
enough
one,
time.
so-
I do have one final thing I want to say, though, Curtis.
Fire away, buddy.
Okay. Big shout out. This is a big shout out
I'm ready.
to the armless archer, Matt Stutzman,
Absolutely
a
captivating.
native to this area.
Yep.
He runs a drag car at Eddyville.
Has
a
basically
lot of people didn't know
a
that.
pro mod car.
Has
that
a pro mod,
that
yes.
The man is one of, if not the most inspirational people you'll ever meet.
Absolutely.
Is an Olympic champion at archery with no arms.
Correct. And his
Drives a drag car.
and he runs a redneck rally car. And his fiance races in the redneck rally, Jessica Wasson, and she won the last Hick Chick race in that. So
Oh, wow.
a lot of wins for
Yeah.
the Stutzman family here. So big
Yeah.
shout out
So
to
he's
Matt and them.
He's had some thrilling matches. Everyone has come down to the last shot or two, and the semifinals. He had a one-shot winner-take-all thing to go to the finals or something like that, and he
Yeah.
had a perfect shot.
Perfect
and,
bullseye.
Yeah,
Couldn't have done any better, literally.
I know. Absolutely
Crazy.
absolutely amazing to see those replays of that stuff. And you're right. Fairly local to us. Has been getting some laps down at Eddyville in his pro mod type
Yeah.
car, and just from all accounts I can see, just an
Crazy.
absolutely amazingly talented man who has not let anything
No.
stand in his way of accomplishing
Absolutely
his dreams.
not.
And
He just
I get
kicks everything over.
yeah, I just
Literally.
I
You told me that
just
once.
I just absolutely couldn't be any
No.
more impressed than I am.
It was impressive. So anyway, folks, so congratulations to Matt and Jessica and the whole Stutzman family.
Absolutely.
So anyway, Curtis, I think that's going to wrap up tonight's
Yep,
episode.
I think so. We'll let with no guests tonight. We
Yeah.
don't want to wear everybody's patience thin.
Are we talking about who's going to be on next week? Or are we
No.
going to leave that a surprise?
it's a surprise.
All
Safe
right.
says it's a surprise.
Surprise.
But there is a little something happening in Oskaloosa tomorrow night that
Just a little.
some people may have some interest in. Maybe we should mention.
I'll let you mention it.
WHO TV 13's RVTV, I guess, will be here on the square in Oski tomorrow night.
Are you going to that?
I will miss that. I'll be, believe it or not, traveling again for work.
Shocker.
I know, shocker. But certainly encourage everybody
time.
to come out and check that out. And
Yeah.
then, of course, the Super Bowl of the state of Iowa is this Saturday. So
Yeah.
we'll hope for a good game from the Hawkeyes. Although watching the first half last week kind of made me question that. Second half was
It
significantly
was Iowa
better.
football.
so,
It was
yeah.
Iowa football.
So
I'm an
but yeah,
Iowa football fan, and I can just say it was Iowa football.
So who are you guys picking for Saturday's game?
I
Iowa
want
or
Iowa.
Iowa State?
So I want Iowa to win, but I think it depends which Iowa team shows up. If it's a second half team from last week, I feel really good about it.